guys, it's Vivify here. Today I was going to talk about this picture here that I'm drawing, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about art block, and let's get into it. So first of all, this picture is inspired by Luna moths. Um, the reason why I decided to draw them and not something else was because I kind of fell in love with Luna moths after I saw them again. I didn't remember what the name was, and then I saw it, I think when I was looking on Pinterest, and I was like, here's this really pretty moth that I've been looking for like 3 years or something. The first time I saw Luna moth was probably maybe when I was like 8 or something. I saw it on a store when I was coming out of the store on a fire hydrant, and I was like, it's really pretty. It looked almost fake because it wasn't moving, and I was like, wow, it's so pretty. One time I thought it was a butterfly, but it was actually a moth, and yeah, it's probably one of the prettiest bugs that I've ever seen, and yeah, they're so beautiful. To me, they're just kind of mesmerizing to look at and watch, and it's dreamy. I really love their name as well. I love um, space things and just things about our solar system, you know, and the moon and everything. It's just very fascinating to me. So for them to be called Lunamots just helped me like be more interested in them. So for this drawing, I decided I was gonna do a girl and then draw these Lunamots somewhere in the picture. But they were gonna be kind of in the focus, so they're not gonna be in the background, they're gonna be up front. That's exactly what I did for this, which you'll see later on. Um, so yes, I did not draw, the other thing is I did not draw them individually, which I'll probably do later. I was kind of rushing with this piece and I got very bored with it, which is another thing that I need to work on, is getting very bored of my art pieces after a while, because this drawing took a long time. I did this over a frame of, I think maybe 3 or 4 days, maybe longer, and it seemed like it was taking forever, and it was annoying me. A very short um, attention span, and when I have like a really long piece, I tend to get very bored with it and want to rush, which is something that I need to work on clearly. So, yeah. Another thing is I wanted to talk a little bit about art blocks because I have had art block before. Usually I don't let art block affect me. If I have art block, I go onto this website called artprompts.org, and it works pretty well to give you like little good ideas. If you want to come with your own idea though, I recommend having like a journal for art inspiration that you just have all the time, where if you see something that is like really pretty, you can just like write it down really fast and have it for later, so you can look in there for an idea as to what you want to draw. The other thing is, if I have art block, I like to work on studies, and like studying an eye or studying a nose, it's like a problem area that you have in your drawing instead of making like a big piece. I recommend doing that because it helps you create better quality drawings later on, and you're just gonna be so thankful that you did it afterwards. Studies have helped me so much, like improve on some things that I need help with, and I didn't understand the concept of them. So I recommend, instead of doing a masterpiece, to kind of just take time out to do studies because they're really good. And so yeah, you can't actually be truly um there's always a thing you can draw. You don't have to draw a masterpiece, but you can draw, study, or just work on something quick. Another thing I recommend is having a Pinterest. You don't have to just have a Pinterest. You can just have something that you're able to take pictures with or save pictures onto if you see something that you like. Sometimes I'll just go on Pinterest and I'll look up something like wolves or something, and I will create a board and I will just pin some things that inspire me to draw. So then when I need some inspiration to draw or I need motivation, I can go and look and I'll be like, oh, here's a butterfly, let me draw this. Or here's a leaf, I should probably draw this, something like that. Another thing I recommend is taking photography of your own. Um, because obviously I like doing things for myself and not doing something for someone else, whether it be photography. Yeah, basically only photography for me, but it could be anything. I just prefer having my own thing and being able to say I made this or I took this picture or whatever. So I recommend taking like a photography course. You don't even have to do that. You can just take pictures. But a photography course might help you quite a bit. So I recommend that. Um, and then take your own pictures, and then you can draw your own pictures. You can kind of like figure out what you want to draw from there and have inspiration for that. Another thing is for me, I love nature, so I can just go out into nature and look around and kind of figure out what I want to do from there and not have to deal with um, just like, I don't know, like I kind of like I just forgot what I was saying. Get ideas from nature. It's one of those. Anyways, um, like going to like a park or something, or going outside and just paying close attention to things really helps. If you have art block. Okay, other thing is a lot of reasons why people have art block is because they're thinking too hard or they just want to do something. And sometimes you should just slow down and like, just focus. Just like calm down. It's gonna be alright. And don't try to stress yourself out. Not knowing what to do is a normal thing. Writers have this issue. Obviously, artists have this issue. A lot of people have this issue where they'll get blocked and they can't. It's very hard for them to think about things and they just need inspiration. That's perfectly normal. And there's so much ways for help. You don't have to be alone in this. Um, if I wanted to right now, I'll have a link for um, art prompts below. So you can use that if you want to, because they're pretty good. I haven't actually used them before because I haven't had an art block moment. I usually think really hard and I usually write things down as soon as I think about them, which is something that as an artist or as a person in general, we tend to forget things and you're like, oh, I'll remember to do that later. You're probably not going to. So if you have an idea, write it down immediately on whatever paper you have or whatever you can write on. And you will thank yourself so much for doing that because you probably wouldn't have remembered before, but now that you wrote it down, you should remember it pretty well. So I recommend doing that if you're an artist or whatever you do, just like write down your notes, just like have a journal. If you don't have a journal, just write in your sketchbook. Like, I'll make a couple of doodles sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I got an idea. Let me just write this down. So the other thing is keeping a sketchbook. Keeping a sketchbook to draw whatever you see at times that inspire you. I recommend doing that because later on, you can look through your sketchbook and get an idea from looking at your own pieces. That's awesome, and I recommend doing that. The other thing about keeping a sketchbook is it helps you improve a lot, and it helps keep your mind fresh. So you have um, kind of concepts. A lot of times, even I do this all the time, where I'll just rush into a masterpiece instead of doing a sketch or an idea of the masterpiece before I do it, which is not really a good thing to do because if you just do that all the time, you're not gonna have the you're gonna be just working on a blank canvas. You're most likely gonna get art block more easily because you have no idea what you're doing. So I recommend, and you don't have to like follow all of my advice because I'm obviously not a professional. I just started like maybe a year or two ago, and I've just been learning from other people, and I've been learning from myself. I've been learning from experience that if you um you keep sketches, it helps you improve quite a bit. And if you sketch your masterpiece idea before you draw the masterpiece, really, really helps. So I recommend doing that if you need an idea as to what you should draw later on, or you just need to like just sketch out your plan. Just plan, like have a map, and that's a great thing to do. So so if you want like kind of like a conclusion here, as I'm almost finished. Um, Basically just plan ahead. Um, Study hard. Do a couple of studies every so often. I recommend doing them a lot, but do it as much as possible, especially if you have art block, because it will help you a lot. Um, Keep a journal or a notebook, sketchbook, whatever. Write down your ideas because you're human. You're probably gonna forget. Some people won't forget, but for me, I know that I'll forget. So I recommend doing that and staying on top of yourself. Anyways, yeah, this is basically the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed this. Comment, subscribe, and yeah. And I'm also perfectly okay with requests. If you have a request, you can leave that down below as well. I'll have my social media and have art prompts linked down below. Bye!